powerful can your fantasies be? Is it something really that important in a relationship? The power of fantasy? Whether it's romantic or it's sexual, I think people should always fantasize about the partners that they have. My name is Lee, and these are Decapitated Thoughts. Hey, stranger, thank you so much for listening, and I'm so happy that you're back and we can talk about one more thing that nobody wants to talk about. So, as I promised, this would be two parts, and first, we'll be exploring your romantic fantasies. I think it is lighter, and I think that a lot of women would do this more than men. But I think it's on an equal footing. It's just that we don't want to talk about it. It's something that we don't really admit. More so when we talk about sexual fantasies, most women do not want to say that they have sexual fantasies because we're really just afraid that we will get judged. And I think it is the same thing with men. The reason why they don't want to talk about their romantic fantasies, their romantic plans, their romantic daydreams for women or for the girls that they like, it's because they don't want to be tagged as cheesy, or they don't just want to be judged that they're too feminine. You know how we attach these kinds of words into genders. Sometimes it is what can get in our way to talk about these kinds of things, to be comfortable about these kinds of things, and it is really weird. So, romantic fantasies, is it okay to have them? You see, I personally am not a cheesy romantic person, but I still get to daydream. And as my sister just told me, you easily get infatuated. And I guess it is because I let myself be infatuated. If I meet somebody, a guy that I really like, after the time that we talk, I'd probably go back to my bed daydreaming about you, daydreaming about how it would feel to hold your hands, how it would feel to just talk to you like for an hour, just sitting right beside you, knowing what your favorite colors are, knowing when your birthday is. And when I do that, I usually already have all these weird plans on how to surprise you, even if we haven't really, you know, I even if I still don't know if it's something that's gonna work for us. And for me, having these kinds of daydreams is actually an investment that I'm making on you. It is an investment that I want to get to know you better, that I want to see all sides of you, and that I put you into situations in my brain and I think and I guess, what you're going to do with that. How are you going to react? Um, Fantasies are very important in a relationship, all because it allows you to wonder what the other person is all about, particularly romantic fantasies. Like how a person would surprise you, how a person would think when it's your anniversary, when they take you out on a cruise. And I'm not a very romantic person. I'm okay with holding hands in the public. That's fine. Um, but I don't do well with surprises. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to be surprised. And it doesn't mean that I don't have any of those big romantic ideas in my head. But I've made peace with the reality that whatever I'm daydreaming about might not exactly be your reality. And I'm talking to you, stranger, like you're the guy that I like, right? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But yeah, so I know that daydreaming is good for your mental health, but it should have a line. Honestly, I would always tell people not to jump into conclusions when it comes to other people, because what you're looking at is your reality projected onto them. So what does that mean? So if I would think now that a guy I like doesn't like me back, that's my reality. That's because I feel like I'm not worthy of his likeness. Do you get that? Um, so that's not his reality. That's just really my reality. But when at the end of the day, I can go back to my chair, to my bed in my alone time. I can start daydreaming, and that reality becomes a different kind of story where in my head, in my fantasy, you become closer to me. You tell me that you like me in the most unexpected way. But, in reality, I'm just expecting you to tell me, like, right up front. I don't really need big romantic gestures. We also have to draw the line. Think about it. When we start doing daydreams and when we start to do all of these romantic fantasies in our head, the scary part is they turn into expectations. And that's when we really have to tell ourselves and say, stop, stop. That's not the territory that we want to go into. That's not the boundary. Because expectation is a lot different. Expectation is already way beyond investing my interest in you. It's already making plans for a future that I'm not even sure of. I mean, we can really never be sure of what the future is, but it's something that you don't really want to do. Because, okay, so I know that I talked about that it's your reality and not my reality. There is still a big chance that my reality is correct. It's always a 50-50 chance. Or it can be what's the name of that guy who owns a cat? Schrodinger? Schrod. Yeah, I know all of these theories and ideas, but I can't really pronounce their names right. But anyway, so it's equal. An equal thing. So it could be that you really like me or you don't like me. It's there and not there at the same time. So I guess until I tell you what I feel, if you're scared to tell me, that's the only time that I would know. But until then, it could be and it could not be the idea, or it may or may not be the reality that I'm facing. But I don't want to set expectations for me or for you, because if I do that, that can be destructive. Because if my expectations are not met, either I would turn internally and would hate myself forever for it, or I turn against you and be mad for something that's not even there. Be mad for something that you didn't even do, just because I gave you this character in my head. So girls, please take note on that. There is a fine line between healthy fantasy and creating your expectation. Once you start feeling like this is the life that I want to have with this person, cut it out. Snap back to reality, because you're already building some expectations that may or may not happen. Again, it's cool to daydream, to have your romantic fantasies as much as you can, but just don't cross the line when it becomes an expectation. I am a controlling person. That's true. I panic when things would get out of hand. I I don't really like I eat Excel sheets for breakfast at work. Um, Even in taking care of my plants, I have a spreadsheet for that as to when I water and when I don't water, as opposed to just touching the soil and seeing if it's dry or not. Of course, at first I did that. I touched the soil and And I found out that there's a rhythm to it. So I have to put it on an Excel sheet so that I can keep track of which plants should be watered. I am controlling. And sometimes when a plant dies, it feels so bad because I feel like it was out of my control. And that's what expectation does to you. It would give you all these weird feeling of defeat that something did not happen your way. So, just don't cross that line. We cannot control certain things in our lives. We certainly cannot control the other person. Whether you are a guy or a girl stranger, we definitely cannot control the other person. And make it a mantra. If you keep on forgetting that, make it a mantra. I did. Because when I was way younger, I just, you know, gripped it so much. Um, I think in one of my blogs, my secret blogs, I wrote somewhere there, or maybe it wasn't in a blog, maybe it was an Instagram post. No, I can't remember. I wrote somewhere there, you love them too much, you love them too little, you're gonna kill them. I'm pertaining to the plants. You're gonna kill them. So you just have to find that right balance um, of love, of fantasy. Um, yeah, you know, the only thing that you can control in these kinds of situations would be yourself, the way that you think and the way that you feel. And sometimes when we talk about feelings, isn't it isn't the most thing that we can control of. So you can control the way that you think, certainly, because your brain is less stubborn than your feelings. No, but it's not true. Some there would be a lot of times where your brain would be the rebellious one. But you can say stop, like, hey, stop. Instead of feeling bad about what happened, that my expectations were not met, I can just really say thank you to what happened. Thank you that my expectations were not met. Because now I know it's not the way to go. Thank you that I have experienced what I have experienced going to the expectation. I may not know what I want, but now I know what I don't want. Like, for example, I expect, or in my daydream, you would always be replying to me, and then one day you just go berserk and tell me that it's not how things are supposed to be because you're not a robot or whatever. Um, if you stop talking to me, that's fine. I'm just really gonna say thank you because now I know what I don't want. I don't want to be ignored. At least I know that, right? So that's totally fine. Just really don't. I know it's hard not to cross the expectation line when you all have these weird fantasies and daydreams that are happening in your head, and they're fine. They're fine. They're good for you. Just don't expect. When I was younger, that was really hard to do. Like, hope and have faith and have trust, but not expect. But now, I guess through experience, it's way different. And I can say it would happen to you like overnight. Do I wish that I learned about it when I was way younger? No, because I wouldn't have experienced what I have experienced. No matter how bad the experience I had with relationships and with quote unquote romantic love, um, it doesn't define me. But I am taking all the lessons, and now I know what I don't want more than what I want. But, at least I learned something, and I'm still learning and developing it, and that's totally fine with me. So, when we talk about this, or when I talk about it to friends, like, I say that I don't, that romantic fantasy is okay. Most guy friends would feel like I'm taking it a bit too far. I mean, nobody really wants to admit that they have like romantic fantasies unless you're really that kind of person who is just all sweet and nice and um I don't know, you're like a you're like the girl that everybody likes, you know, and it's okay for you to be emotional and it's okay for you to be romantic. But for most guys, since you know that's not how we were raised in a society where it is more important for the guys to show uh, masculinity and being tough and whatnot, it's super hard for them to admit that they have romantic fantasies. Like, it's so hard for them to say that they have all these romantic daydreams about certain girls and not just like sexual fantasies. Um, like they can't admit that they would be daydreaming about walking with this girl, holding her hands under the bright moonlight. You know, it's totally fine. It's part of life. And for girls, most girls that I know, well, at least 75% of them are girly girls. And there's nothing wrong about being a girly girl. And they're totally okay about voicing this out. But the problem is that's when it crosses out to become an expectation. And I've seen a lot of girlfriends had fallen for that. They built like a formidable wall around that expectation, and when the guy comes up and you know breaks their heart, it's just really bad. And I couldn't say that I did not experience that. I've experienced that a lot of time, and then I guess that's why I know how it feels. It doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel well, but yeah, I don't really have much time to sulk about it, so I would just really say thank you for the experience. And I've learned something about it. Before we end this episode, I'll tell you, I have tons of romantic fantasies. I may not be the one to actually talk about it to people. And that's the reason, I guess that's the whole reason why I have this podcast, is because there are so many things that I don't really talk about to people. So I do have a lot of romantic fantasies. When I like a guy, the first thing that I think about is, well, you know, I don't really know. It kind of crosses the line of a sexual fantasy. Yeah, I would know that I like a guy when I close my eyes and I can imagine him kissing me. And then the next type of fantasy that I have, it's sort of like a test for me, is if I can wake up. I would imagine myself waking up in the morning and waking up to his face. I know it sounds shallow, but I know what I want. I want to wake up to a beautiful face beside me. And it's not just for guys, it's also for girls. Then the next thing that I daydream about is how his hands would fit into mine and how he would respond to certain things, like when I introduce him to friends or to family. And if I get nervous about that, then maybe I still don't know this person really, really well, because I still get nervous about things that I should be comfortable about. It's fine to have romantic fantasies, stranger, and it's fine to talk about them, because that's when you would know what you want and what you don't want in a relationship. It's not cheesy unless you're watching a cheesy movie. It's not cheesy. It's totally fine. And it's important in a relationship because it makes you wonder about the other person. You're allowing yourself to invest some interest, not yet emotions, but interest into this person, to know what they're like in certain things, how they feel like in certain things. And that leads us to the next part of our talk, which is sexual fantasies. Um, Yeah, is it okay? And is it something that both women and men actually share? Are we on the same ground, on the same page when we talk about sexual fantasies? Let's talk about that in the next episode. Thank you so much for your time, stranger. If you feel like connecting with me, I'm all ears. Please write to me at linotagami@gmail.com. That's LINOTEGAMI at gmail.com. Thank you so much. I'll see you on the next episode. Stay safe, stranger, and I will see you